Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the host of Stoicon 2024, Harald Kavli.
Hello, everybody. Thank you, Phil, for the digital applause. Welcome to Stoicon 2024, Stoics as citizens of the Cosmopolis. This will be the 12th Stoicon and the 5th that is held entirely online. This is an annual event where people come together to share their interest in an ancient philosophy that has experienced a great revival in our times. I believe that we've also been quite successful in bridging the gap between academic philosophy and general population, which I think is something that the Stoics of antiquity would be quite in favor of. Everything today will be recorded, and hopefully the recordings will be available at our YouTube channel, where you can also find recordings from past events. Also, we're going to organize something called Stoic Week, which will begin on October 28th. And what happens there is that we invite you to live as a Stoic for about a week. There's going to be some readings and discussions and plenty of opportunities to dig deeper into Stoicism. And I encourage everybody who haven't signed up to do so. The topic of this year's conference is Cosmopolitanism. And to help us dig deeper into this, we have collected a great list of speakers that will help us understand what the Stoics meant by this and how Cosmopolitanism fits in with Stoicism as a whole. The first speaker today will be Kelly Rudolph at 10:20, and she'll present her talk, Motivating Stoic Cosmopolitanism. We'll then move on to a panel, Stoicism in Prisons, led by Gregory Sadler at 11. After that, we'll have a short break before we move on to Jackson Coulter's talk, From the Self to the Cosmos, followed by Siggy Scott's talk, Active Asceticism. We'll then take another short break before we move on to Jack Wishnick's talk, The Stoic Formula for Doing the Right Thing. And then we'll have a pre-recorded lightning talk round, which will be presented by Brittany Pollett, followed by another short break. Finally, we'll end with Katja Maria Vogt's talk, Stoic Cosmopolitanism. The talks will be followed by a Q&A section, so I invite you all to write any questions that you might have in the chat, and we'll try to get them to the presenters. I would also like to introduce Greg Sadler, Phil Yanov, and Brittany Pollett, who are all members of the Modern Stoicism team and who are going to present the speakers here today along with me. Phil Yanov is the technologist of the Modern Stoicism team. He will make sure that the tech works properly today, which we're all really grateful for. He also runs a series of events called Conversations with Modern Stoicism, the next of which will take place in November and will be a conversation with Brittany Pollett and Christopher Gill. Brittany Pollett is a co-founder and president of the organization Stoic Care and writes about Stoicism on her Substack, Stoicism for Humans. Her most recent book is Stoic Ethics, The Basics, which she wrote with Christopher Gill. Greg Sadler is the former editor of Stoicism Today, president and founder of Reason.io, and is a professor at the Milwaukee Institute of Art and Design. He has also produced a large quantity of YouTube videos about philosophy that I know from experience, both my own and others, have helped many students of philosophy understand some of the key texts and topics of philosophy. He is also a great friend, and I'm really glad to have him here today. And it's now my great pleasure to invite Greg Sadler to say a few words, followed by a short introduction by Phil.
There we go. Yeah, thanks for that introduction, Harald. And, the friendship thing is completely reciprocal. And actually, I want to say something off the cuff before I actually launch into what should be the official remarks. So I think that aspect of friendship is quite important. There's a lot of people in the modern Stoicism organization, and I see a lot of people in the chat as well who I would consider friends, some of whom I've only met up with once or twice in, as we say, real life. But this is, for us in the internet age, also real life. Harald and I spend at least an hour a week chatting about various things, and so many other people involved in the Stoic community. We've gotten to become friends. And I think so. Bringing this around to the topic of cosmopolitanism, the Stoics have this catchphrase that you see in Epictetus and Seneca and Cicero and all these different authors talking about us not just belonging to a cosmic city, you could say, but a community that spans the entire universe, the cosmos as we know it, and is composed of all human beings, all rational beings, which that includes the divinities as well. And, whatever it is that we believe in, whatever we think is better, higher than our own minds would be part of that. And this is a really powerful notion. It's not saying that we're all just one household, one big happy family or something like that, as people often do when they're trying to snooker you into doing extra work at business or at a university or whatever. It's, we don't all live in the same house. We don't all live on the same street, but we can all be members of the same community. And we can be bound by ties that have the affection of family when family is going quite well. But I think friendship is a really central part of that. And so hopefully, one of the cool things about Stoicons in the past when we had them face to face was everybody would get together and we'd have this shared experience and, chat outside of the halls over coffee about what we're interested in and get to know each other. And I'm hoping that we can have something similar coming out of Stoicon 2024, as we have had with the previous online Stoicons as well. This format doesn't have to keep us from sharing some good time. We've got some great stuff to center ourselves on with a lot of speakers who are going to be telling us about what cosmopolitanism means, both for the ancient Stoics and in the present time. We've got a kind of cool emphasis in the panel on prisoners or inmates as also being part of that cosmic community and worthy of being connected with all the rest of us in certain ways. And that can provide us with a great opportunity that we can carry out in the chat and, through our question and answer of engaging each other and getting to know each other at least a little bit, which I think is, completely central to Stoicism. You look at the way that these people lived, it wasn't all just about going off in your study. You see all my books behind me, reading philosophy, occasionally coming out to meet people. The Stoics were people who were out there in the world. When Zeno was at the Stoa Poikile, he was there to not just teach as, somebody who would lecture, but to engage with other people. And it turned out to be, quite an occasion, right? They became known as the people of that particular place. And so now, just to bring this to a close and cede the floor to Phil, who has some things to tell you as well, we can think about the worldwide Stoa that we belong to, this great porch where we can have conversations with each other. We don't all have to be involved in the same conversation at the same time with everybody else. There's plenty of little alcoves for side conversations. And I mean, from the point of view of the global Stoic community, even though this is the biggest gathering of Stoics worldwide, this is a side conversation. Right? So we can have a lot of other great side conversations. And I'm hoping that this will just be the start of a number of conversations rather than an event that we all go to and then finish up with and then go on with our business. So that's all that I have to say at this point. I'll be introducing some of the speakers as we go on, but that's my 5 minutes. And thanks for listening in on that. Maybe it'll inspire some good conversation. And I'll turn it over then to Phil.
Wait, am I in this thing? I guess I am. Hold on a second. I'll add Phil in here. Oh, Greg's this. We'll pull back here. All right. Harald and Greg have put together a lovely program for you today. I mean, I am so excited with what is about to happen. But I got a couple of minutes. Harald, is that okay if I talk to him for a couple of minutes and talk about what we're going to do? All right. Yeah. What I'll do is I will just actually, I'll keep you here just in case you want to comment on any of this. So listen, the theme for today, cosmopolitanism. Greg summed that up beautifully. Harald's talked to you about what the day is going to look like. I'm here obviously to kind of make sure that the tech is working, and I hope that we get all of that right today, fate permitting, of course. But one of the things is this is a space that we're not always in together. So we've done a couple of things to hopefully make this a little bit easier for you. One of the things is we've got to chat, right? And there's an opportunity for us to talk to each other. What we're going to ask you to do is that while the speaker's talking, kind of keep it focused on the speaker, right? That's there to support them, etc. What we don't want to do is start some other conference or, go off on some side chat. I mean, I think it's kind of fun to like whisper to somebody in the back, but that's not what we really want to have happening in the main chat, but it can be distracting. By the way, if you're newish to Zoom, you can, with the chat, you can like hide the chat altogether. You can hide the where it shows you what's going on, the previews, etc. So you can make this kind of go away so that while the speaker's talking, you can focus your thinking on the speaker themselves. So all of that's easy enough for you to do. Let me help you understand one thing about cosmopolitanism. I'm going to ask you to do this again, even if you've already done it. Mostly today is going to be lean back, right? We don't need you to have your cameras on. We don't need you to talk, but we're going to ask you some questions in the chat. But in the chat, let's get our fingers together and have everybody type in where you are in the world in the chat. And I've seen some hello from Brisbane and hello from Belgium and all that kind of stuff. But even if you've done it before, do it now. And don't just type in where you're from and hello and be nice and all that kind of stuff, but take a look at all of the messages that come by in this, take a moment to look at it. DC, London, Portugal. By the way, I'm going to name some of these. We've already got 160 people here. We'll have more today. But the point is Milwaukee, Toronto, Germany, and they're flying by so fast. But here's the thing. We're not all in one place. We're not all in Tampa, Florida, or East Texas, or Greece, or Russia. We are, in fact, a cosmopolitan community all over the world. And this is a chance for us to act together. And I just love that we can do that bit. So thank you for being here for today. We're going to hopefully we've got some great presentations. We've got some great presenters. This prison panel is awesome. Just enjoy it. Lean back. If you got questions about it, do that thing. By the way, the presenters will let you know that we're going to take questions and there'll be some Q&A. It's going to be moderated Q&A after each of the presentations. We'll take care of that as we go along the way. But the idea here is to grab some good ideas. If you get a good idea, post it inside the chat. Let someone say, let someone else know. Greg mentioned this whole thing about us being in the Cosmopolis is important. I think it's important too. So let's get that thing. Let's get all that together. Let's be good people together inside this chat. And let's practice and today, I was telling Harald earlier as we got together, I said, I see myself as a little bit more of a social Stoic than a hard Stoic. I see myself as someone who wants to be a good human among other humans. Today, let's try that on together and see what that looks like. Thank you for having me. I'm going to put a link. I will keep track and get you some links inside the chat. We're going to ask you not to put a bunch of links to other stuff in the chat that's not about what we're talking about today. Let's help people stay on conversation. But what we're going to do is we'll give you links to like some of the speakers and some of the stuff that's going on, and I'll get my lights to stay on. But we're going to give you that during the course of the day. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being part of this. Enjoy the show. And I pass this back to Harald. Thank you, Harald.
Thank you. So I guess that the first speaker now will be Kelly and Brittany. Are you ready now, or should we keep going for a bit longer? Yeah. Well, then I'll go and just keep talking for a bit more. So I think that one of the challenges of Greg, do you want to jump in?
Yeah, I'll join you for a bit. Actually, I'll throw a question your way that might be of interest, and maybe other people want to answer this in the chat. So Phil asked, where all of you are from, and let's ask this as sort of a warm up. What's the most interesting place that you're seeing somebody else from that maybe you'd want to visit, or you'd want to connect up with them or hear about what it's like to live out a life informed by philosophy and Stoic practice? So I'm going to throw that at you, Harald, and other people can answer that if they want to in the chat.
Yeah. Well, I always want to see United States. I'm currently trying not to fly that much, which makes United States a bit of a challenge. So I think that you can try to just pick a ride with like a container ship or something like that, but that seems a bit hardcore. But I also went on the Interrail through Europe now. And that's actually my tie. I went to a wedding in Glasgow by train, so that's the same pattern as my kilt. So yeah.
And we do. I think we've got some people here from Scotland as well. Yeah. There's Catherine. There we go.
Yeah.
Wait a second, Greg. You need to answer this question. Where do you want to go that you saw inside the chat?
That I'm seeing in all of these different names. Well, there's some of them I've been to, and a lot of the others I haven't been to. So yeah, there's so many. I think I've not had great opportunity to travel, but I think there's somebody here from South Africa, and I've got a few other contacts there that it would be nice to actually meet face to face again, and it would be certainly different than the other places I've gone to. And it strikes me as, every place needs the Stoic principles and practices that we're going to be looking at. But it would be interesting.
Wait a second. Does that mean that you see yourself as a missionary when you go to one of these places? You'll be taking Stoicism with you?
I'm not an evangelist. No. Maybe if I was better at it, I would be tempted to do that. But I'm still a Prokopton, so I'm still in development, so to speak.
Yeah.
What about you, Phil? Do you?
Awesome. Well, I would like to, I've been to Greece, but I would like to go back to Greece as a Stoic who is thinking about that. And of course, I would like to go walk along where Seneca in Spain as well. So there are places I would love to go hang out. But I see the next time. I've never visited the Oracle at Delphi, and I want to know if Socrates is still the wisest man in all the world. So I think that would be kind of fun. I might, want to go ask that question in kind of quiet. Catherine Cormillis asks if I come into Oxford. I don't think I'm going to make it to the Oxford event in November. I would love to go do that as well. But we go hang out with some of our colleagues in Oxford would be fun. I would like to go hang out in Greece. I think there are lots of places I've yet to go. And once I get my kids off the payroll, maybe I'll get to go hang out in some new places.
There's a lot of great answers here in the chat.
It's lovely, isn't it? It's lovely to see people from all over.
I'm just going to highlight one of them real quick, and then we'll jump in. So Michael said, would like to see Earth from a spacecraft, see what a speck we really are from above, putting into practice the view from above, but zooming out pretty far. That lends a little perspective, doesn't it?
Yeah. I would, sure, I'd be doing this from the moon. That'd be cool.